we've actually come quite a long way in our relationship with our neighbors, and I'm hoping over the next 2 years to get to a new reality of real cooperation. You know, I've spent a lot of time building relationships with some very extraordinary colleagues in the region who also see things from the perspective of this $92 billion economy of 1.3 million people, and thinking about how we take that to the world rather than fiefdoms, which is again what we've done for a couple of generations, certainly for most of the last 20 years. And so the biggest expression of that, and it's utterly symbolic at this point, but it is significant, is that the mayors of the counties and cities around us are describing this as the Edmonton Metropolitan Region. And there's a unity in that which is powerful, and it's representative of a new will to work together. And the place where you see the strongest evidence of that is in the formation of the Metro Mayors Alliance and the Blue Ribbon Panel that's out right now, looking at questions of governance, which is to say, you know, realistically, how do 24 municipalities work together more effectively, and even potentially the question of whether 24 is the right number, which you can come at one of two ways. You can say there might be some consolidations over time, which might or might not involve Edmonton. They might involve players around us, and it might also mean drawing the boundary a little tighter in than the current regional boundary, which includes all of the counties out, you know, beyond really the event horizon of the city's direct economic influence, or the city region's economic unity, you might say. That's an easy one compared to the real tough one, which is how do we actually start sharing effectively? And that would include us. And maybe it's pooling, maybe it's we put money into a pot together that builds the next set of interchanges that support the most efficient use of infrastructure and the longest term economic development. So sharing isn't necessarily County X cutting a check to the City of Edmonton. There's a lot of different mechanisms out there whose main benefit is shared risk and shared benefit, shared reward. And that aligns interests in a way that our system doesn't right now. And so we have really good will to do that sort of thing because of the people around the table, and because there's a sense that there's a need to do this for all kinds of reasons. But we need to nail down some kind of system of mutual aid, mutual benefit sharing, benefit and burden sharing, whatever you want to call it, pooling. And you know, the panel's going to look at different models that are out there in the world, from Minneapolis to, well, that's probably the best one, but that's my own bias, to Unicity models. They're going to look at that too. And now, feasibly, is that politically palatable? Is that even a good idea? Would it be worth all the administrative hassle of amalgamating? I'm not convinced. And then the last thing they're looking at is, once you now all see a win in landing the Williams propane plant, whether it's on our side of the line or your side of the line, it gets a lot easier to go hunt as a pack for investment. And so creating a unified regional economic development entity remains one of the holy grails of regional diplomacy. But I'm optimistic that we're going to have continued progress on those files, and it is really unsexy stuff. It is long diplomacy. But we're trying to go from playing checkers to playing chess as a region, and I think it's happening because the neighbors are up to it, which is great. And so that's going to continue along with the charter and along with work with the feds and along with work on the basics of getting infrastructure built cost effectively.